All right, welcome guys. We have a nice nine game NBA slate to go over today. Hope you guys are having a good day so far. Forgettable night yesterday for myself. Injury to Miles Turner, a couple blowouts. You had a nice, half a fantasy point per minute game for Kyle Kuzma. You had the Giannis obviously ruled out news. I'm praying we don't get any of that today, but I just know we are, right? So again, expect the unexpected this week. Any players that are doubtful or ruled out, they're 100% playing. Any players that are not on the injury report, they're getting late scratched. You got to expect that at this point with what we've seen so far. So, all right, if you guys are new to the channel, how this works, so we'll take a look at what we know so far, review the Vegas odds, and go team by team, talk about players I like, and get to questions at the end. So Durant in. I haven't heard anything yet on the minutes limit. Cole Anthony also in for the Magic. They have him and MCW as well as Birch available, so they are a little bit deeper now. Gallinari questionable. Winslow, Clark, Melton all out. Ja is in. Looks like it was just back spasm last night. Ingram still questionable, waiting on that. The Pacers, we got news that they're all doubtful besides Jeremy Lamb. So I think the Pacers are a team you're going to want to go to for sure for some value. We also got Clint Capella questionable. The downgrade to questionable midday is never a good sign, so possibly some value there with Okongo, Nathan Knight. I think those guys are for sure in play if Capella's out. Against Sabonis, unlikely. Brogdon, unlikely. Miles Turner, unlikely. Lamb in. We got the Magic starters. Wendell Carter Jr. is starting, so I think he's still in play. I don't know if he's going to play 35 minutes again, but he's still viable because of the matchup. D'Lo in off the bench, can be on a minutes limit of low 20s, so not really looking at him in this spot. We're still waiting on Beal news. Rui in. We're still waiting on Robin Lopez news. And then that's what we got so far. What's going on, guys? What's up, Daniel D? How's it going, man? Zion and Kawhi saved me last night. Yeah, Zion had a big game. At pretty low ownership. Zion and Lonzo. And I like them both again today. So let's take a look at these odds. Let me refresh this. All right, so we got Wizards and Magic at 222 over under. Wizards are 4-point favorites. Pacers and Timberwolves a 232.5 over under. The T-Wolves are 1-point favorites. Pelicans and Nets a 233.5 over under. The Nets are 9-point favorites. Knicks, Celtics at 209 over under. The Celtics are 3-point favorites. Hornets and Thunder a 213.5 over under. The Hornets are 5.5-point favorites. Mavs, Rockets at 223.5 over under. The Mavs are 10.5-point favorites. Grizzlies, Hawks, I think this one's a sneaky one, 226 over under. The Hawks are 1.5-point favorites. Spurs, Nuggets, 221.5 over under. The Nuggets are 6.5-point favorites. And Jazz, Suns, the late night hammer that I really have no interest in, the 227 over under. Jazz are 2-point favorites. Kemba, Kemba's out. We'll talk about that. Yeah, so for Pacers, I think probably somewhere around, I'd say 3 to 5. 3 to 5 Pacers tonight for sure. So before we get into the analysis real quick, guys, if we could hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That does help me out a lot. Currently already at 200 viewers and 32 likes. So I appreciate everyone who has liked the stream already. And let's start with Minnesota and the Indiana Pacers. This game I think is going to look pretty appealing, obviously, for DFS-wise. On the Minnesota Timberwolves side, so no Miles Turner, no Domantas Sabonis, most likely. Who's going to guard Cat? Goga? Maybe an undersized Jakar Sampson? That's all they got. So I do kind of like Cat as a contrarian spend-up. I don't think he's an optimal spend-up, especially if Beal's out. I think Westbrook's probably the guy you go to. Also, there are some good plays at the center position, but I like the spot here a lot for Cat and like his upside. Now, D'Lo being in off the bench, not a ton of interest in him. I know he had a big game in 24 minutes, but I'm probably not going to go there. Edwards, a little bit too pricey for me. I think McDaniels goes overlooked in the slate. He's had 2 of the last 3 games where he's gotten in severe foul trouble, 5 and 5 fouls. Normally, he should get about mid-30s minutes. Again, I think he's going a little bit overlooked. I would rather have the Pacers value, but don't forget about McDaniels. He's someone that can train value play I think you could look to. Feeling the love, Josh. Feeling the love. Yep. All right. But yeah, Naz Reid too. Yeah, you can take a shot at Naz Reid. He's been playing a little bit more alongside Cat. All right, Pacers. So, again, Sabonis, Brogdon, Turner, most likely out. Karis LeVert, I don't see how you get away from him. I don't, right? The only way, I mean, he still got there last night. I mean, he would have had a lot more if the game would have stayed close. So, great matchup. Just think about LeVert on the Nets, right, when all the stars were out. He would go for like 50 plus almost every single game. Massive upside, great matchup. He's got the team to himself. Absolutely love LeVert. Again, not a contrarian take. Love LeVert. TJ McConnell, if you're asking me if I'm still tilted about last night, the answer is yes. So, previous games before last one, 32, 34 minutes. And then, last game only 25 minutes when he's the chalk. Now, sure, the blowout attributed that to a little bit. Jeremy Lamb back maybe hurt his minutes. I think you can still go back to McConnell here. I would think in a close game we get around 30 minutes, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Now, he was the absolute chalk last slate. He burned a lot of people. Again, that's going to lower the ownership. Don't forget about him. I kind of like going back to guys after they burn people because the ownership's going to be lower. So I am definitely intrigued by McConnell. A little bit riskier now based on what we saw of the minutes that last game. But hey, 5K against Minnesota, probably around 30 minutes. I think he can still smash. Justin Holiday, yes, he's viable. He'll probably get around 30 minutes. He's Justin Holiday, right? I don't really want to play him. I think I'd rather get to other Pacers value. One of those guys being Doug McDermott. Now, I always mention Doug McDermott. Downside is scoring dependent. Look at the last 5 games. 1 board, 3 assists. 3 boards, 1 assist. 2 boards, 3 assists. 2 boards, 1 assist. 2 boards, 1 assist. He's not going to do a ton of the peripherals. His fantasy points are going to come from scoring. Now, they have no one else besides LeVert that can really score the ball. So I think McDermott's going to have to get a ton of shot attempts up. I think he is firmly in play here. Edmund Sumner at 3-5 should start at point guard. Now, did only play 18 minutes the last game. A little bit worrisome. His minutes are a little bit, up in the air. I think he's viable, but not the first guy in for me for the Pacers. Jeremy Lamb at 3-4 played 23 minutes, had 6 steals. We're not going to get 6 steals again, but I think we get somewhere in the neighborhood of mid-20s minutes from Jeremy Lamb. And again, no one else can really score the ball besides LeVert. So he's going to have to step it up big time. I am interested in Jeremy Lamb. Not a ton of interest in Aaron Holiday. I mean, I guess he's playable. I think I'd rather play Lamb. Last guy I'll mention here, I think is a little bit sneaky, is Jakar Sampson. I think there's an outside chance maybe he starts instead of... Oh, we got to get to Goga, too. I think there's an outside chance maybe he starts the 5 instead of Goga. If he does, I would like him for value. And then Goga is, again, the flat min. I'm assuming he starts against Karl Anthony Towns. So whoever does start here at the 5 for the Pacers, I think is a really good value. I'm guessing it's Goga. Goga's the better point per guy, so I would prefer Goga. Yes, foul trouble concerns against Karl Anthony Towns. But at the flat min price, that's one where I just don't really care. Right? It's just, I don't care about I know it's a possibility. When a guy is priced way up and I think there's a good chance of foul trouble, that's when I look elsewhere. I said the exact same thing about Robert Williams yesterday, right? Some people on Robert Williams hey, I don't play centers against Embiid because foul trouble. And you saw when Robert Williams did 3 fouls in 5 minutes. So, and he was at almost 7K. Goga's at min price. So if he does get in foul trouble, I think he can still pay off the salary. Whoever starts the 5, I really like for the Pacers. And we got Ingram out. Okay, so we'll talk about that in a sec. And we got the Pacers confirmed out too. You got Turner, Brogdon, Sabonis, all out. Kira Lewis out. Ingram out. All right. That's what I wanted to see with Ingram. We'll get to it with the Pelicans. But I think Lonzo Ball, Zion Williamson, very much going overlooked in the slate. They're 2 of my favorite plays on the slate, to be honest. I love both, and I think both are going to be low owned. All right, moving on to Washington, Orlando. It's a little bit hard to say right now with Beal still up in the air. Beal's out. Westbrook, again, I think is the optimal spend up. You don't necessarily have to play him in GPPs. It's a scary fade, without Beal, fading Westbrook. But yeah, if there's no Beal, I think Westbrook is again, an optimal spend up for sure. Rui's in, so even if Robin Lopez is out, I think you might get some backup 5 for Rui, but I don't really want to pay 7K for Rui, so everyone else is kind of just stay away from. If Beal's in, then Westbrook's more of a secondary play. Isaiah Thomas season. I mean, he did play. He actually got some. I'm curious to see how many minutes he played, but you can go there as a dart throw in tournaments. Moving on to Orlando. So it's a good matchup here. Wendell Carter Jr. I think is going to be popular. I don't think he's a bad play. Might be a little bit overowned, though, because Kem Birch is there. He's played 34 and 35 minutes basically because of an 8-man rotation. With Birch in, do we go back to like 25 to 30 minutes from Wendell Carter Jr.? If that's the case, then I'm not as high on him. So, again, they have Bamba, they have Birch. I'm curious to see what happens. You can play Wendell Carter Jr. and hope he just plays his 35 minutes again. I think it's still a possibility. I'm a little bit more worried about the minutes, though, with Birch available. Okiki still playing big minutes. I think he's viable in the mid-range. Not a priority, though, for me. And that's probably it. Like I think I'm just stay away from everyone else on Orlando. New York, Boston. I'll make this really quick. Yeah, Rui's in. I'll make this really quick. I have no interest in anyone in New York, and I basically have no interest in anyone in Boston. I know there's no Fournier. I know there's no Kemba Walker. I prefer other stars in the slate. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Again, I know there's no Kemba. I would rather get to other stars. Let's see. I would rather get to Lonzo. I would rather get to Zion. I would rather get to Trae Young. I would rather get to, maybe take a shot in Jonas Valanciunas or John Morant. There's a lot of guys I prefer. I would rather probably play Terry Rozier than these Boston guys. So Boston guys might get some ownership here. Maybe it's a hot take. I have no interest in anyone in Boston. I have no interest. New Orleans, Brooklyn. So this is where I think I'm differentiating myself from the field. Based on what I've heard, based on what I've seen, I think Zion and Lonzo are going overlooked in the slate. No Ingram. Obviously no NAW. No Hart. Great matchup against the Nets. Up-tempo. I'm very high in both Zion and Lonzo Ball. Zion Williamson, going to play mid-30s minutes. Clear number one on offense. Lonzo Ball shot 4 of 15. I think he started the game 0 of 8. He still went for 52 fancy points in a blowout. I think we get 35-plus minutes from Lonzo, up-tempo game. I really like both Pelicans guys here today. Bledsoe, not completely out of play. Would rather get to the other two guys I mentioned. That's probably it. James Johnson will most likely start, but with Zion in the lineup, takes a huge usage hit. Yeah, Isaiah Thomas at 4-9. What do you play? 25 minutes. You can take a dart on him for tournaments, but I'm not really looking to that. Again, no Kira Lewis. Marshall did get some run. I don't know if I trust it. Not completely out of play. Would rather play the Pacers value than Marshall. All right, on the net side, I still haven't seen any confirmation of Durant's minutes and if he's on a minutes limit. If we don't get that news, there might be a chance that Durant is not on a minutes limit. If he's not on a minutes limit, then Durant's a really good spend up. But I don't know if we're going to get that news. I think my guess and what most people think is Durant is going to be on a minutes limit, but I still haven't seen that yet. If he is limited, then I think you could look to Kyrie to maybe pair with Zion or Lonzo in tournaments. Kyrie is, if Durant's limited, he is going to be probably out there for, close to 40 minutes and have a good amount of the game without Durant. So would have a little bit of interest there in Kyrie. Nothing else in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant is on a minutes limit. He'll play 38. Yeah, he's on the John Wall minutes limit, right? He's on a minutes limit, but he's going to play 36 minutes. God, that was... I don't think I'm ever going to get over that one. Then pivot off John Wall. John Wall plays 36 minutes, goes for a triple-double and 60 fancy points at low ownership. All right, Memphis, Atlanta. Another game that I think is going a little bit overlooked. If you can stomach it, John Morant, I think, is a really good tournament play. He's not been good recently. He is not. There's been some blowouts. Minutes have been a little bit up and down. The thing with him, though, is the upside is still there, right? It is there. It's just the consistency is not. So don't touch Ja right now in cash games. Don't think you can do it. Also, again, had some back spasms, a little bit worrisome. But this is a really good matchup. And the ceiling is there. The ceiling is there. It's the same thing, about a week ago when Gordon Hayward and the Hornets were playing the Wizards. I think everyone was looking to... I forget who it was, but everyone looked to someone else in Charlotte, whether it was Rozier or Graham, and no one looked to Gordon Hayward because he had 3 straight bad games. And what I basically said was, hey, Matchup is great, and the upside is still there with Gordon Hayward, just the consistency was not. And the same thing here with Josh. So if you're willing to stomach it, if you're willing to, take a floor game, take a shot on John Morant, right? Because the upside is still there. It's just, he has not been good recently. He has not. But like him for tournaments because, again, it's still there. Jonas Valanciunas as well. I think Jonas Valanciunas, if there's no Clint Capella, I mean, he should be able to feast here against Okongo and Nathan Knight. He's been bad. Ja's been bad for sure. Again, not a cash game play at all. Not a cash game play at all. Jonas Valanciunas, I think is a really good tournament play. The minutes are never amazing for him, but if he gets there's no Brandon Clark. If he gets 30 plus minutes tonight, he could absolutely crush that salary. So if I'm going to pick one of the Memphis Stars, JV, in my opinion, is safer. Brooks had a good game last game. He also shot 10 of 16. I don't like playing score-independent guys. The other guy I actually really like is Kyle Anderson slow-mo. Now, he gets a massive boost with Brandon Clark out. He'll play more at the 4. He's a guy that can stuff a stat sheet. I think Kyle Anderson is one of the best plays in the slate, in my opinion. Love him in the mid-range. And that is really it. Moving on to Atlanta. Another play I love in tournaments, Trae Young. Said the exact same thing about John Morant. I was like, hey, Trae Young, he's been a little bit up and down. He had a bad game last game. People are going to look at that and avoid him. He came in at below 5% ownership and went for 52 in a blowout. Up-tempo game here. Lost minutes because of blowout. Possibly no Capella. Possibly no Gallinari. I really, really like Trae Young for tournaments. One of my favorite plays in the slate. Clint Capella at 8.7K. Currently questionable. My guess is he doesn't play. I'm really praying he does for my best ball team so I can advance. But I don't think, my guess is he doesn't play. If he does not play, whoever starts is a good value, whether it's Okongo or Nathan Knight. Now, we see Nathan Knight, when he gets minutes, he's actually a pretty solid point per minute guy. He's at the flat min, also power forward eligible. So keep an eye on those two guys, both viable for sure if there's no Capella. Again, Gallinari questionable. If he misses, more minutes probably for a guy like Bogdan, a little bit more usage. You can take a shot on him for tournaments. I don't love the price. Maybe you can take a shot on Lou Williams. I think he would play a little bit more if Gallinari is out. Solomon Hill, Tony Snell will eat minutes. But again, you know my rule by now. I do not play either of them in DFS. All right, we are, we got 3 games left, 3 or 4 games left. Let's refresh, make sure we're up to date. I might have to pick up the pace a little bit here because we got 15 minutes until lock. Where are we at? Almost 400 viewers, 76 likes. Guys, if we could hit that like button, it helps me out a lot. All right, Dallas, Houston. Luka Doncic, I like a good amount here. Up-tempo game. The only concern is the possibility for a blowout here, but I think Luka goes a little bit overlooked. If Beal's out, Westbrook's going to be the chalk. Don't forget about Luka. Also nice to be small forward eligible. Porzingis, at that price, I'll probably stay away from, and value, no thanks. On the Houston side, not much here. Wood, priced about right. Wall in, not really on Kevin Porter Jr. If you want to take a shot on John Wall, you can. If he's on a minutes limit, he's going to play 38 minutes. If there's no minutes limit for John Wall, he's going to play 25. So keep an eye on that, right? If they say he's going to be limited, that means he's going to play basically the entire game. If they say there's no minutes limit, that means he's going to be limited to about 25 minutes. You think I'm kidding? I'm not really kidding. I'm pretty serious. Kelly Olynyk with no Daniel House probably starts, probably plays 30 minutes. I don't know if it's a necessity on the slate, but yeah, viable. All right, Charlotte, OKC. On the Charlotte side, no Gordon Hayward, no LaMelo Ball, no Malik Monk. Terry Rozier, Devontae Graham, and Miles Bridges, I think, are 3 pretty good plays in the slate. Up-tempo game here. This game should stay close. Rozier, going to be the number 1 on offense. Graham should play 30 to 35 minutes. And then Miles Bridges, point per dollar, he probably looks the best at 5K. I think he's going to be popular. I think it's for good reason. Now, is he a must-play? No. But the top 3 guys there for Charlotte, Rozier, Graham, Miles Bridges, I think all 3 are pretty good plays. I think you can go to all 3 in both formats. PJ Washington, the issue with PJ is if there's one of the centers out with Zeller or Biyombo, I'd have more interest because he gets a bigger boost while playing the 5. I feel like he's just going to play most of the game at the 4 with both centers healthy, so I'm not as excited about PJ. If you want to take a shot on one of the Martin brothers, sure. I don't know if I can stomach Brad Wanamaker in the slate either. It makes me sick just mentioning him. But, yeah, really, those are the 3 guys, Rozier, Graham, Bridges for me. All right, OKC. So, Moses Brown, no thank you. couple of guys in the mid-range here I think look interesting. Pokusevski, Maladon. Pokusevski's been pretty consistent. I think we get 30 to 35 minutes in play on the slate. Don't love it. Maladon, the upside is there. He's been very up and down. I think viable for tournaments. Svi, too pricey. Kenrich got in foul trouble. I think he's, again, solid. Like, there's a few guys in the mid-range here that look all right, but there's no priorities. And then Tony Bradley, I think you can go to for value. He's been playing more recently. I think we get around 20 to 22 minutes from him. He's a solid point per minute guy. Is he a must? No, right? There's other value. I think Pacers value probably looks a little bit better. Maybe the Hawks centers, right? There's no Capella. Last 2 games will be really quick. San Antonio, I basically have no interest. DeJounte Murray in, no interest in anyone. On the Denver side, if Jamal Murray's out, I think you look to Monte Morris, who lost a little bit because of the blowout. I think we probably get close to the 30-minute mark if the game stays close. So what has some interest in Monte Morris? Also, it's nice he's shooting guard eligible. Jokic, if you think this game stays close, is a fine tournament play. MPJ, Gordon, Barton are all decent in the mid-range. Again, no priorities, though, for me. Finally, Utah, Phoenix. Again, this one will be pretty quick. Not much interest here. Capella is out. Okay, that sucks for my best ball team. Utah, again, Phoenix. Basically just a cross-off game. Both teams healthy. Both teams good defensively. So, all right. Yeah, so I want to see what Atlanta does with the starting lineup. But I think Okongo and Nathan Knight are now firmly in play here. Again, I'm guessing Okongo starts. If he does start, I like him for value. But don't forget about Nathan Knight. He's a good point per minute guy. He's also power forward eligible. He's also min price. My one concern here is they might like dust off Bruno Fernando for some minutes. Like, yes, this is a possibility that Bruno Fernando just eats a couple of minutes. I don't know why he should not be in an NBA roster. He is terrible, but he might get some run, which would make those other Atlanta centers a little bit riskier. But yeah, I think it's going to be some combination of like a 3-headed monster of Okongo, Fernando, Knight. Whoever starts is the safest. If Knight doesn't start, I still have interest in him because he's power forward eligible. So that's my thoughts. And also, Gallinari out. I really, really like Trae Young. Really, really like Trae Young for tournaments now. Great matchup. Like, everyone is out, right? Capella, Collins, Gallinari, Herter, Reddish. I think Trae Young is a really, really good tournament play. And also, yeah, JV, right? So JV gets a pretty big boost. Solomon Hill, don't do that to yourself. Don't do Solomon Hill or Tony Snell. Just don't do it. I think the Hawks bigs will go a little bit low round. What's a Bruno Fernando? JV, yeah, JV should be able to feast for sure. Thoughts on Westbrook, LeVert, Brown, McDermott, Goga, Trae Young, Bridges, and Okongo? Okay, again, I think it's a pretty solid. I'm guessing that's Jaylen Brown. Maybe it's a little bit of a hot take. I don't really have interest in the Boston guys. I get it with no Kemba and no Fournier. Trae Young is awful. Although he's been up and down, but below 9K against Memphis, I'm pretty high in him for tournaments. I don't think I play him in a cash game setting. I don't. I think look at the cash game build, assuming that Brad Beal's out, you go Westbrook, you go LeVert, and you go the value Pacers, and maybe one of the value bigs for the Hawks. That's kind of an optimal build, in my opinion. Atlanta Bogdanovich. Yeah, Atlanta Bogdanovich is in play. I just don't love the price, but he's probably going to get more shot attempts up. JV. I think JV is a really good play. I do. Wall, 38 minutes. Yep, that's a lock for sure. Wall on a minutes limit. Okay, again, locked for 38 minutes for sure. Sumner, Zion, Miles Bridges, or McDermott, Zion, and Bojan Bogdanovich. I don't really have interest in Bojan. So probably the first one. Marcus Smart, I prefer other plays in the slate. I don't think getting, like, optimal build-wise, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense to go to Smart. Slow-mo or Bridges is a really good question. I think they're two of the best plays in the mid-range. If you have the salary, give me slow-mo, but I like both quite a bit. Yeah, Trae or Lonzo. Lonzo actually might be a little bit safer because Trae, I think, has a little bit of a lower floor. Upside-wise, though, Trae. That wasn't me. That's how they spelled it. That's how they spelled Westbrook. I was just reading how he said Westbrook. I like Westbrook. He said Westbrook. Westbrook, LeVert, Lamb, Zion, Goga, Lonzo, Kyle Anderson. Yeah, I like that a lot. I like the build a lot. Yeah, so Kyle Anderson versus Bridges is really close. Again, I think they're two of the best plays in the mid-range. I'll lean Kyle Anderson. I think you can play both, though. Favorite values, depends on the Pacers starting lineup, but the Pacers. So, like, Goga or Jakar Sampson, whoever starts at the 5. We have Lamb. We have McDermott. Those two, I think, look really good. You can use Sumner. You can use Aaron Holiday. You can use Justin Holiday. And then the Atlanta bigs, too. Whoever starts with Okongo versus Knight, but still vintage Knight if he doesn't start. Thoughts on Boban? I only play him if he starts, because if he doesn't start, there's a decent chance he gets a DNP. Yeah, Sumner and Cat or McDermott and Jokic. That's tough. I'll lean the second. I feel more comfortable at McDermott's minutes than I do Sumner's. Okongo, I need to see the starters. So that's hard to say right now. Stomach playing TJ again. I like him a good amount as a contrarian play. People are going to overlook him. I think we still get about 30 minutes from him. I'm fine going right back to TJ McConnell. Any thoughts on Ja? I like Ja as a tournament play because no one's going to play him tonight. Now, again, it is not an optimal play at all. He has been bad. Flat out bad recently. But, the upside is still there with him. Tony Bradley's going to go overlooked. Like, I think optimal build-wise is probably whoever starts at the center for the Pacers and whoever starts at center for the Hawks. I think you play both for a cash game lineup. So, yeah, Bradley is a viable pivot off those guys. Is Westbrook a lock? I think for cash games, I would play Westbrook. For GPPs, no. But he would be probably the optimal spend up in my opinion. Russ, Kyrie, and Trey for cash? I don't know if Kyrie's a cash game play. Trey is fringe cash game playable. My only issue with Trey is the floor is still low. Trey, Knight, JV, or Westbrook, Bridges, and Knight. So Trey and JV versus Westbrook and Bridges. Hard to say right now. I think, cash game-wise, it would be the second one, assuming Beal's out. Yeah, I think even at 3,900, Gogo looks great if he starts. Yeah, so Lonzo or Rozier's tough. I think that's really, really close. Give me Lonzo, but I like both. Ooh, forward for 49. See, that's a situation where I think I rebuild. The forwards I want to get to in this range are Miles Bridges and slow-mo Kyle Anderson. Where is he? Oh, there it is. There's just so many guys at 5,500. Those, I think, are two of like the optimal plays in the slate. If you didn't want to rebuild and you had to pick one, it would be McDaniels. McDaniels has been in foul trouble 2 of the last 3 games, 5 fouls. Besides those 2 games, 35, 36, 38, 36 minutes. I think we get mid-30s minutes if he stays out of foul trouble. So that's where I would settle, but I think I would rather get to Bridges and slow-mo for a little bit more. Yeah, Westbrook, Luka. Right now it's Westbrook. Yeah, so Sumner's interesting because he'll start, but like the minutes are a little bit, shaky with him. Viable, but not the first guy in for me on the Pacers value. Towns and slow-mo or Zion and JV. Ooh, that's really tough too. Give me Zion and JV. Lonzo, Ja, Trey, or Rozier, pick 2. It's Lonzo and Trey for me. Trae Young, LeVert, Bridges, slow-mo, Cat, Lamb. I like that build. You got the Pacers. You're going back to McConnell, who should be a little bit lower owned. Who would you play, Goga or Sampson over the? Would you play Goga or Sampson over the Atlanta bigs? It's a tough question. Honestly, I think optimal build-wise is you play whoever starts the center for both teams. So if Goga starts at the 5 and Okongo starts at the 5, I think you play both. So that's what I would do if I'm trying to build the optimal lineup. That's what I would do. Cash lineup, Westbrook, LeVert, Lamb, Bridges, Cat, Bogdan, Knight, and Goga. My one issue is Bogdan because of the price. I don't know if he's a cash game play. I think he's a good tournament play. All right, what news do we have? We got about a little under 5 minutes until lock, so make sure to get those questions in if you guys want some answers. Maladon, Svi, Williams, Pokashevsky, and Brown. That's kind of who we expected to start. Darius Williams ruled out, or Darius Miller. Still, I think they have like 9 guys still. John Wall available. Yeah, Kenneth Williams will start. All right. I just wish Capella would play. I think I can still hang on to my best ball, but yeah. Yeah, McDermott or Bradley? I think it's McDermott now. Am I playing both Bridges in slow-mo? I think I only have one right now, but I really do like both. I really do like both today. Yeah, Zion or Lonzo, pick one for cash. I think they're both almost identical plays. Like, Lonzo's obviously cheaper. Both are going to play big minutes in an up-tempo game. I guess Zion if you have the salary, but I like both. If Beal's playing tonight, yeah, I think that's a good pivot. Russ to Trey, and then you can move elsewhere. Last time JV had a good matchup, they blew out Philly. Do you see a blowout tonight? I don't, but you never know with the way the NBA's been going. You never know. Beal's in. All right, Beal's in. That's kind of what I wanted because my lineup right now does not have Westbrook, and that makes me a little bit happier now that I don't have to completely sweat it. So Beal being in, Westbrook's not out of play. Don't just like pivot off Westbrook. He's still a solid play. He's just not a priority anymore. So now, optimal build-wise, yes, you still have like Kat, Luka, Jokic at the top. I'm thinking optimal build-wise, maybe it's like 3 of these guys in the like 8 to 9K range. That's where I'm leaning. Yes, again, Russ is still in play for sure. The ownership will drop. Do not, like, Russ can still get there with Beal in. Beal himself, I'm probably not going to get to unless we get news that he's full go. Layman starting for the Wolves. Is he? Oh, he is starting. Wait, who's he starting over? Oh, I think, I don't really have interest in Layman. I don't. Like, I just think if you get to Layman, that's just a mistake, right? We have 2 cheap centers with Minnesota and Atlanta, whoever starts there. We have the other, or with the Pacers main. So 2 cheap centers, whoever starts the 5 for the Pacers, whoever starts the 5 for the Hawks. And then you have Pacers value, and then you even have, again, if Nathan Knight doesn't start, I think he's still intriguing because he's forward eligible. Yeah, again, slow-mo. I think slow-mo and Bridges are optimal plays tonight. Cat safer than Russ? I like both. I think I might lean slightly to Cat, but the issue is position, right? So if you play Cat, then you can't play both value centers, and I think both value centers is the safest way to go on this slate. So in order to get JV, you can't go to a Congo. Again, that's the risk, right? So you don't have to play both value centers. You can just pick one if you want and get to like a JV or get to a Cat. 5,500 for utility will be Bridges Kyle Anderson. All right, guys, one more minute. Trae Young, LeVert, McDermott, Zion, Rozier, Sumner, Goga, and Wendell Carter Jr. All right, I'm good with that. Bolivar, yeah, I like that too. I like that a lot. Best 6,300 guard. All right, this is the last one, guys. I'm going to call it 6,300 in guard. Yeah, man, I think this is just a situation you rebuild. I do. Personally, like, you can play Bledsoe, but, like, he's the third wheel behind Lonzo and Zion. So, yeah, I think you rebuild. Miles Bridges. Yeah, you can still get to Wendell. Najee Marshall. Yeah, Ingram is out. I would rather get to the centers. I would rather get to the Pacers value. How many Pacers are too many? I think you should. I would play LeVert plus 2 value probably at least. So you could get, I think, 3 to maybe 5 on the high end. Yeah, made it to 100 likes. Thank you guys. Thanks for all the support. I'm going to call it. I got to go stream for Patreon. So good luck to everyone. Keep an eye on that news. As we've learned this last week, expect the unexpected. There's going to be some late scratches. There's going to be a lot of just wild stuff most likely. So have a good day, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. So I'll see you guys all then.